Yo. What's that all about?
Good evening, Robbo. How you doing, mate?
What was that? What was that about? What is that about?
1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
6.
How you doing, Robbo?
What's 6 got to do with it today?
Bro, I noticed that you've ditched your shirt, bruv.
No, I haven't quite ditched my shirt. It's just because it's pretty cold, and you know that we are experiencing the coldest weather ever since records began in the UK. So I had just warmed up.
Oh,
just gone jump around Paris. That's all.
Oh, that's your excuse. You notice I've got on a relic long sleeve Manchester United shirt, even though it's the coldest period we've had for X amount of years. We're still hot up in here, bro. So your excuse is kind of lame. I think it's something to do with that crushing defeat at the weekend.
No. So we're gonna say good evening, one and all. Welcome, Daddy Ernie. Last week he was looking like an Undertaker, but this week we are doing the fixture list, and maybe we can bury some boy this week. But we got a very special subject this week. We've been here for the last, how many weeks has it been, Ernie? Now
I think it's about four weeks now, isn't it, Rob?
4 weeks, and in that 4 weeks, I haven't had any good results to talk about for Liverpool, but we've managed to strum up some real good conversation about football. Some of the stuff that you don't hear on the alternative shows, not this in any other program. There's loads of great fan channels out there that support their club. They know more about Manchester United than Daddy Ernie does. They know more about Liverpool than I do. But one thing we certainly know about is we've watched the game long enough and we have an opinion. And today you're going to hear some of the most ridiculous, utterly foolish opinions, as well as a very serious subject. We have Troy Townsend from Kick It Out, the Kick It Out campaign, where they've been obviously over the last 25 years trying to tackle racism in football. We're going to find out, are they doing a good job? Is it a slide tackle, or did the man just run past him? I got on the front.
It's gone.
He's gone. He's gone. He never slide tackle him. So we'll find out from Troy Townsend, and we'll be joined by Eddie Nesta.
Hello.
Yeah, Eddie Nesta, good broadcasting friend, and
Rodney Hines.
Is Rodney going to be joining us?
Yeah, Rodney will be joining us. I must let you know, though, Robbo, Eddie we have to take it easy with him because he's not well. Apparently, I don't know if you've seen his video, and I warned him about this. He was doing star jumps and press-ups barefoot in the cold weather we had a couple of weeks ago. And I warned him, and it looked like it's come home to roost because I spoke to him today, and apparently something's happened with his back. He's been off air all this week.
Has he?
But he's going to be joining us a little bit later on. So we'll have to go a little bit easy on Eddie. But Eddie, you come up with a head of steam.
You're telling me that Eddie's day job where he gets paid, he ain't done, but he's going to come and join us.
Yes.
Free.
Yes. And that is the kind of thing we like.
MBE Nesta, whatever that means. But we're looking forward. And of course, Rodney Hines, sports writer from the Voice newspaper. Rodney's input has been great so far. And I must say, we're going to talk about sports writers and writers of newspapers. He hasn't got one score right. I know you've marked them down. He's been wrong every time, and he's a sports writer.
Yep. I must say, what's his name? Top Cat last week was spot on, wasn't he? He said if they get 2, they'll go on to get more. You'll be in trouble, and he was spot on.
And you know, when I messaged him to thank him, he was out. He was like, "With the Bobby's this." love me like my strong cannabis. He was gone. He was right. He said if Manchester City scores 3, over.
No, 2. He said if they score 2, it could be more. If they score 3, it's over. So he was right on all counts, really.
But he's the only person that's really with a big prediction, a correct prediction so far.
No, I've had a few. I've gone for a few draws.
You've not been right at all. You ain't been right.
I have been right on more occasions than you, that's for sure. Manchester United done ya, Man City done ya. I mean, I never predicted the Burnley one or the Brighton one.
Well, there you go.
You know what I mean? But two out of 4 ain't bad. You know,
it's easy to say your team's gonna lose because you're biased, and obviously it's about biased opinions. You're just gonna, like, if I ask you right now, Leicester at home against Liverpool, 12:30 tomorrow morning, you're gonna tell me Leicester's winning.
No, I'm not going to tell you that. I've got a feeling that that's going to be a draw. I'm going for a draw with that one. I'm going for a draw. Right. I mean, one of 2 big games at the weekend, and City's going to turn over.
Which other big game we have?
Pardon?
Which other big game?
Well, you know, the bridesmaids. Well, Man City, the current leaders of the Premiership, against the bridesmaids. That is a kind of a big game, really. You know, a biggish game. Not big game, a biggish.
But I spoke to you in the week, Ernie, and I've got a prediction for that game already. And I know you're going to say, please, Robbo, not again, but I will. I'll give you my prediction on that game. And if you want me to give you some more predictions on Manchester City, I will. Shouts getting to Lewis, Mastermind. No one ever told me nothing. I did tell you, Robbo, you were going to feel some City pain. That's so easy. Any score, Lewis, Mastermind, that put Liverpool out of the race to be champions again was going to be painful. It could have been a 1-0. It could have been an ugly goal. It could have bubbled off a man's shin. It could have dropped upon Sterling back of his head and got any goal against my team was going to be painful. But did I know the best goalkeeper in the Premier League for 2.5 seasons just give it a go?
Well, I tell you, Robbo, it was. I mean, what do you? I spoke to you during the week about the game, and you seem to tell me that you weren't played off the park. You know, I don't know. You came up with something that you weren't. I thought that City really and truly put you to the sword.
What do you say about that? Listen, I welcome all the comments. So if you're online right now, if you're on YouTube, you can comment on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, you can comment on Facebook. My opinions was we didn't get played off the park. I thought the game was definitely a game that Manchester City looked more interesting in terms of winning the game. So there was always looked like there was at least a goal up on Manchester City because they currently, as we all know, are playing better football. But played off the park, no. The goals were given to them. They were just like, I play it. No, it's like a waiter just come say,
take it.
You want 3 glasses of wine, my friend? And they just got 3 glasses of wine. It was just given to them. We wasn't played off the park. I don't think it was a Liverpool, a vintage Liverpool performance. It's not the Liverpool that all you boys have been feeling for the last 2.5. The Liverpool who now feel the gun machine. But
gun machine.
Oh, come on, Ernie.
I told you at the beginning of the season, Robbo, right, that you will not defend your title. I told you that.
Ernie, this show is biased, and I want you to stay biased. But at some point in the hour and 20 minutes we have, just talk little sense, no? How can you tell me?
I told you.
No, you can tell me that we ain't gonna, but you haven't got a crystal ball, so that's something you can't be sure of. But what you can't say. You cannot. You did not write. You didn't say to me at the beginning of the season. I still ain't collecting my £20. You didn't say at the beginning of the season. That's what's going to happen to your team. You're going to fall off. You're going to have 6 severe injuries, and that's it. You ain't gonna. You didn't predict any of this.
No, I never predict that. All I predicted was that you was not going to defend your title, and I am right on that count right now. You know what I mean? Right. But anyway. Let's. You know what? Necessary. That's our little friend.
Yeah, little friend that supports a man. Get off the screen.
Do you think Villa could do the double over Liverpool this season? That is some chicken George in Birmingham.
Oh, he's a Villa supporter. We found one. Big up Chicken George. I reckon they could do the double over Liverpool, but I just don't. I don't imagine Liverpool having a poorer game than what we had down at Villa Park. So Chicken George, no. No.
You know, I just want to drift off a little bit. You know which team? I want to ask Rodney this when he comes as well. Sheffield United, they seem to find some form, Robbo.
Yeah, down at Old Trafford.
Before they got to Old Trafford, they
found something down in Old Trafford.
Yeah, but could they avoid relegation? Because it's well known that whoever's at the bottom of the Premiership at the end of the season normally get relegated. But I'm seeing in Sheffield like they're going to really make a go of it.
Ernie, because this game is because this program is biased. Let me just give you my biased opinion. I don't care. I don't care about Sheffield United. I don't care. Big up all my peeps up in Sheffield. Big up all my DJs and my sounds and all the guys up in Sheffield. But I don't care.
But you don't care.
They're playing West Ham on Monday. They're getting beaten.
Where are they playing West Ham? At the London Stadium or at their place?
And I would say that the stadium thing doesn't really matter if for most teams. But traveling from old Sheffield to East London, they ain't winning down there, bro.
They ain't making it. They're not making it. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Something tells me that they're going to get out of that relegation thing, man. I don't know what is possessing me to say that. You know what I mean?
People, if you're online and you care about Sheffield United, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, just do like me. Somebody's. We don't care. Just beating Man United. Just do your job. As Curtis would say, do your job.
That's it. Necessary mayhem. Curtis Lynch Jr. That's necessary mayhem. So once again, if you're online, drop in your little comments and we'll get onto them. Also, we've got our email. Remember, I wrote this. Sheffield ain't getting relegated. Guess who?
He's from He's probably from Sheffield.
Sheffield or nearby.
We've got to talk about
the number there. Flash up our little email there for us, please, so that people can email and drop in their info and all that, because we want to get people used to our email address, so that when we do our competitions and that is what they have to do. It will be on the Fixture List Show at gmail.com.
And Superfans, Ernie.
And Superfans, yeah. We was going to have a Leicester City Superfan, but he got cold feet.
Where did you find Leicester City Super? What, Leicester City? They're my fans up there.
I tell you what, he's a season ticket holder. He would have made good, interesting listenership, but something's come up and he can't make it this week. So maybe at a later time we'll see if we can get a Leicester City Superfan on. You know what I mean?
Flash that up again. The email, guys. Listen, we still have we're good. We're good. If you feel like you want to come on and be a super fan for any of the games, Crystal Palace, Manchester City, Tottenham, Aston Villa, Southampton, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and you know we need an Arsenal. If you are a fan and you want to get involved in the show, and all you need to you just need to be capable of being able to come into the show. So let's face it, you can't have a green screen phone. You got to have just a good phone with Wi-Fi. And our guy behind the scenes, Anthony and All Saint, will be able to bring you into the show. So if you want to come into the show, see that email there, the Fixture List Show. Just hit that right now, and we'll see if we can get a super fan today on the show. We're inviting super fans because, as I said, it's not your regular football show where everybody is supporting one team and they're crying about Lord God, Liverpool and Arsenal fans and Tottenham, screaming Tottenham fans. This is for everybody. and guess what?
Actually,
it's bias, no Ross. It's bias.
You know, Patrick Tappin, a staunch Spurs supporter. I actually called him during the week to come on the Spurs. He said, "No, I can't do that." He says, "I can't do that. I don't mind just sort of putting messages up, but I can't come in to the show and make a contribution." You know what I mean? So yeah, all right, Patrick, let's see what you got to say today, if you're going to be saying anything. We'd like to hear from you. And I'm surprised that we haven't really heard from Arsenal supporters more than we have since we've been here, Robbo, because they've got a lot to say when they're on Arsenal TV. But I think this is a little bit more serious than Arsenal TV, so they're nervous.
But you know that sing when you're winning. Them gonna sing when them winning. Sing
when they're winning the FA Cup, and they ain't winning it this year. That's for sure.
Yeah. So
Patrick, now that's real pain right there.
But I've got a funny prediction about the Tottenham game and Man City. I said it to you earlier on in the week, Ernie. We'll talk about our predictions, but I just think something really crazy, because remember, Tottenham was the last team to stop the juggernaut Manchester City. They were the last team to stop them, and they beat them comfortably 2-0. And Jose has been beating Pep quite comfortably at Tottenham Stadium. Although this game is at obviously the Etihad, I don't know. I just think there's a chance for Son and Walking Cane.
Sugar cane.
Cane. Sugar belly, sugar ankle cane, sugar ankles. I just think there's a counter-attack game, and what we saw in the game with Liverpool and Manchester City, Diaz, he ain't all that. He's not all that.
Well, according to you, Robbo, but that defense has been holding strong. They haven't let in a goal for quite a few games.
They're not playing no bad, because they ain't played no bad teams. And the one bad team they played was an out of form Liverpool attack. Very out of form Liverpool. They're not played no bad teams. Don't get it twisted. Manchester City, as I said to you in the week, Ernie, have got licks coming. Everybody's got licks coming, and they've got their licks coming. They ain't all that. John Stones and Diaz. Me, I come tell me. No, sir. Sorry.
Well, maybe we've got to bring in. Well, let's bring in Rodney Hines in here. What Rodney's got to say. I think we've got Rodney to join us now on the fixture list. Look, that guy there, he's so cool, isn't he? There's me and you. I'm in my shirt and my hat and that. And he's sitting at home like, I'm not a care in the world. Hello, Rodney.
Rodney, a dash with the Arsenal top. Good evening, Rodney.
That lasted 1 week. It's always nice. It's always nice to be in the studio and hear you guys warming everything up. It's fantastic. Robbo, first of all, you're right. Arsenal fans sing, but they've not been singing. They've not been singing for a while, my friend. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, and I totally agree with you. Tottenham, maybe not even Tottenham, but they got the game. They got the game to upset Man City. I know we'll talk about it a little bit more, but you know what? If that Tottenham team keeps defending the way it is, it could be horrible. It could be horrible.
I think with Manchester City, they're programmed, and once they get up into the last third, like we said, the movement in the last third is kind of ridiculous. That I give them.
Yeah, and I hear your point. I hear your point about Diaz and Stones. On paper, it don't look great, but do you know what it is, Rob? City generally have got the ball, you know, so it's like that's why I think. Do you remember when Guardiola at Barcelona used to play Mascherano as the centre half? And I think a couple of times in the last few years he's played Fernandinho there, because you can pull a midfielder out who can play football, because invariably City have most of the ball, you know. So it's gonna be an interesting game. I don't know. Maybe we've got too much faith in Tottenham.
That we don't. No. But
maybe I had too much. Maybe I had too much faith in Tottenham then, because I believed their counter pressing game would have been decent. But Tottenham are all over the place. I mean, what sort of levels of confidence do they come into the game with on tomorrow night? Do you know what I mean? Everton never score 5 against anybody. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know what form. And I think there's a challenge or two at Tottenham right now. I keep hearing these stories about Bale and Mourinho falling out, because clearly that's not worked, has it?
Bale, the ship has sailed with Bale, man.
Yeah.
Mourinho said, "They said, is he injured?" Mourinho just saying, "Yo, he felt pain." He felt pain. So if he feels pain, we can't play Bale. He felt pain.
Well, that's when the 5th goal went in. He's felt pain.
The thing is, the media gets so much stick sometimes, but the media in terms of Bale at Real Madrid, playing golf, not being at it, has proved to be correct.
Yeah,
really.
Definitely, definitely. We have a Tottenham. Ernie used the word staunch, but I don't believe there's anybody staunch supporting Tottenham. But we do have Troy Townsend, who's going to be joining us. His son obviously played for Tottenham, now playing for Crystal Palace, and it's a subject dear to most of our hearts. It's that correcting the game. In some ways, we've seen that the terraces has been empty, but the voices has been really, really loud. It's almost as if fans not being in the football terraces has given them a little bit of muscle to voice their opinions on, and it's every week a team loses, a top flight team loses, and that sends the signal out. Yeah, let's now disrespect our fans. And now it's just week to week. Patrick Tappins tapped in. Patrick, shame on you. You should have come and represented for Tottenham. I thought you would. And we had a few more comments just before that. We can do them. I think there was a couple more comments. So we'd like to do them. Curtis G. Big up, gents. Love the show. Mourinho's too negative to cause City a problem. But
there you go. There you go.
But
I think it's going to call a mayhem.
Rodney, there's one for you. Let's put that. He goes, yes, Rodney, keep on being cool. No need for you to dress in your shirt, hat, and colors. Why? He ain't no fan. He's a Tottenham fan. I told you, man.
Oh no, stop.
Karen Allen said, big respect, gents. You know your football. We all know our football. This is not about anybody's got a bigger brain. We have eyes. We can see the ball is round. It's got to get in the goal. That's all we're interested in. We don't need all that fluff. You know what I mean? And anyway, we don't need to worry about a fluff. We've got Rodney. He's the fluff guy. So
let me correct. Chicken George is actually a Tottenham supporter. He's not a Villa supporter. He's actually a Tottenham supporter. So let's just. Oh, Mike Walters, Bale, the new sick note player. Yeah, we got one up at Manchester. He's going to be going soon. His name's Jones.
I'd like for us to talk about that more with Rodney, because Rodney gets to do the press conference, and there's people when you watch these press conferences, the game which is obviously the Premier League's product, they talk so much bullshit, and I think they think that we can't see through the bullshit in these press conferences, because it's the same rubbish that's trotted out by teams at the bottom of the table, and then you hear the managers at the top of the table trotting out the same bullshit. I wish they would just be more open. I know they obviously show a lot more respect to other teams, but I think they think that the fans are stupid. I'd like to talk about that, because that Bell comment from Jose Mourinho is kind of interesting, because he has been one of those managers that's a little bit, he sells close to the win. He doesn't mind brushing a player up neatly, you know what I mean? So I want to find out from Rodney, when he goes into these press conferences, does he smell that nonsense, and how much of it does you bring into the paper? So we'll definitely do that later on. All right, keep the comments coming. Please drop your comments on Facebook, and also drop your comments from on YouTube. We want some Facebook love tonight. We're doing very well on YouTube. The shows are being played back extremely well. Thanks to everybody that plays back the show, and share it. It doesn't matter what team you support, just share it, because it's just brothers who love the game. You know what I mean?
We've got to say hi to Naphtali. You know, Naphtali, who used to follow around Cox, and he now follows around Studio One. He's an Arsenal fan, but he don't want to come on. He's a bit shy as well. You're the only Arsenal fan who really comes. Well, you're here with us, but
which Naphtali was in the program?
Naphtali
with the program with Blacker.
Yes, the same one.
Naphtali. I think he makes a better actor. Hey, that show was. Listen, big up Blacker, Jed, but that show, I didn't make the show.
Yeah, you know that. You know that. What did he say? Was the getaway driver or something?
I was a getaway driver, but these days, what's that?
I'm cool. I'm driving 10 miles an hour. I was in, let me give you a joke. I was in Jamaica, right? We was in Jamaica a couple of years ago, and we're over by Sabina Park on a Sunday night. Raytown is over at Sabina Park. So we're there, me, John Dubvender, Patrick Khan, loads of people from the music business. Who turns up with a yellow taxi? Now, you know the taxis them in Jamaica, Robbo. Yellow with taxi on the side. Naphtali has managed to commandeer a taxi and turn up at Sabina Park. You had to be there to see it. It's ridiculous. If we managed to get him on the program, we'd be a laugh.
Hey, listen, I want Naphtali on the show.
Yeah, we got to get him on. Definitely got to get him on somehow, by hook or by crook. I think he might have a bit of difficulty actually getting in on our thing because he don't really understand it too much. So we might have to go around and give him a lesson.
Listen, man, old or young, we'll have them in. Just make sure that you're kind of your phone. You know, when you see the update button, you just learn to use update your apps. You know what I mean? So what do you reckon? I mean, we can run down some of the games. I know it gets spicy when we start running down the games because of the bias foolishness. But do you think it's up to you, Ernie? And actually, it's up to Rodney. I'm Rodney,
I'm good.
You're in charge.
Ernie, you're in charge, my friend. Chuck it. Come on.
What? So what do you? We can bring in.
I thought you were going to bring in a couple of games from the weekend that coming up.
Yeah, we can look at that as well. I think we can bring in Troy Townsend. He should be joining us very shortly because he's a Spurs supporter. I'd like to get his views on what's happening at Spurs and his view at the weekend before we do go into the whole racial aspect of it. So if Troy's around, I think we told him to come back about 9:30, so he should be in very soon. It'd be good to bring him back. Some of the games last weekend, I mean, we've touched on Robbo. As you can see, Rodney, he's ditched the shirt and everything. He's telling me that it's cold. That's why it's cold.
It's cold.
I mean, if he's cold, I'm cold, and you're cold. I've got on my top, and you've got on a nice little casual thing. So that what he's saying don't really wash.
We've had problems in the studio heating. It's cold. So, I'm here, man. I'm here. I'm going Paris tonight. You understand? Yeah. I'm a Trump man tonight. So yeah, when we get heating on, I put back on the fire red. You know the uniform, the machine. I'll put on the red machine shirt. But yeah, definitely. I'm not avoiding.
Last weekend,
I reckon Rodney's avoiding because Rodney coming like this brother. The guy had the shirt and he even had the correct lighting last week. What's going on, Rodney? You could have
Who did you play last week, right? Who did you play last week? Yeah.
Aston Villa.
Oh, yes. 1-0. They scored early, innit?
Didn't I tell you were going to get beaten? I said it.
You did. Yeah.
All right.
It's not looking good. It's not looking good. I mean, Arteta has come out today and said that he's had racial abuse on the sideline as well over in Arsenal. Is that a smoke screen deflecting from the team?
No, I don't think so. Steve Bruce has said the same thing up at Newcastle.
Huh?
Yeah, he could say that because Newcastle.
Whoa. Steve Bruce got racial abuse.
Yeah. Well, not racial abuse.
Death threats. He got death threats.
As did Mike Dean, the referee, last week.
Yep. So I think it's out, isn't it?
Yeah, but can we just remove that for a minute? I'm not saying it's bullshit, Rodney, but let's just remove that for a minute. Footballers from The Devil Was a Boy has been getting abused. We've gone to games. We've all been to top flight games and heard ridiculous amounts of abuse. And how is that the story of the week?
I don't know how it's the story of the week, but I mean, I'm just continuing from what Ernie was saying, that Arteta has said that over social media, he's been abused, him and his family. Mike Dean last week, if you remember that controversial sending off Souček of West Ham, lastminute.com. Mike Dean has been stood down as well. Steve Bruce says he's been abused online. So, you know, while it obviously isn't racial, it's obviously abuse still. And it's hitting the headlines.
I just find that strange.
No doubt we'll have another round of that this week as well.
I find that strange how that hits the headlines. I really do. I'm not taking away any of the hurt it causes anybody in any walk of life and any profession for people to abuse you for, you know, what you do. But I don't know how that is a headline. And I'm wondering if what Ernie said, it's just Arteta deflecting.
Well, this is what I'm saying. You know, could it be that he's just taking the heat out of the team? Mind you,
I think you have to do a lot more than that to deflect. Come on, let's be serious.
Yeah, but I mean, the
league table doesn't lie. Performances don't lie, and you know what? Because every game is on TV now, everybody can put a microscope over a Premier League game now. There's a vast majority of people watching Premier League action from home, and they can now make their own decisions and make their own comments. Because traditionally, how many of us would be watching Sheffield United? But we can watch them every week now if we want to. So, yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's deflection. It might be reality, it may not. But I don't think that'll deflect in terms of Arteta, because obviously the Premier League table don't lie.
Guess who said he remembers going to Millwall? It was shocking. Which part of Millwall? What, the Sainsbury's? Or are we talking about the club?
I think right about now, actually, Troy is here. Now, Troy Townsend is head of development at the Kick It Out Foundation, and a very important job there as well. His son plays for Crystal Palace, and I think it's only right that we bring him in right now. So, good evening, Troy. The media has allowed it now. Taking over.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I mean, you're disturbing my Friday night viewing, but I couldn't think of three better people to do that with. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight's show.
Troy, I tell you what, Troy.
Is my heating broken down as well?
I was going to say, had I known that he would have that wallpaper, I'd have changed my mind.
Listen, this wallpaper could sell for money. That shirt can't. Yeah, so steady. Yeah.
Oh. How are you? How are you, sir?
It's been a busy period. It's been a busy period, as you've been talking about already. Yeah, the kind of incidents that happen in the game mean that it's absolutely non-stop work at the moment. But I'm sure we'll get into the detail of that. Other than that, personally, I'm good. I'm really good at this period of time.
I mean, you're a Tottenham supporter, so maybe we just kick off on Tottenham before we get in onto the serious issue. What's your take?
You have to do that after an FA Cup defeat, didn't you? Yeah.
Well, I'm interested to find out on your take on how do you view the job that Maureen's doing down there at the moment.
Listen, it's
chill, man.
He's going to be judged on performances, isn't he, and results. And some of the performances have not been great at all. And people talk about the Tottenham tradition, but this Tottenham team was struggling under Pochettino for the previous year that he was there as well. And I think this is a lapse of that, and there needs to be a whole shake-up of this squad. Certain players are underperforming for so long now. The reliance on Harry Kane and Son is way too much, and there needs to be contributions from other players. Ndombele has stepped up this season, but obviously there's an issue around Dele Alli, and I'm not even sure if you're going to mention Gareth Bale, because I'm not quite sure what that loan was about or what it was for. Maybe it was just to bring him back to England so he could enjoy himself, but he's definitely not contributed the way that many people wanted him to and thought he might. But Gareth Bale brought a lot of baggage with him. He's not played for Real Madrid consistently for 2.5 years, and there's a reason for that. So ultimately Spurs were taking a gamble, and the gamble just hasn't paid off where it comes to Gareth Bale for sure.
Well, what do you make out on the Dele Alli situation? I can't fathom out how he can't get into that team.
He can't get in. He doesn't get in the team because he hasn't been performing. Full stop. Dele wasn't performing under Pochettino. but he was a favourite of Pochettino, and he kept staying in. He I don't know what happened, but he wasn't performing to the levels that we know. Gareth Southgate and England wasn't including him anymore, so obviously Gareth was not impressed with him. But it's Mourinho that gets all the flack, because apparently Mourinho has done this before and before and before to bright young talent. So whether it's something I think he needs pastures new. I think he should have gone to PSG, but obviously Spurs in the end decided, well, Mourinho decided that he didn't want to, but he looks a shadow of the player that he was. And when your confidence is not great, when you don't believe that you're going to be able to contribute to the team, sometimes it's better just to cut ties and move on. And I actually thought it would have been better to cut ties with Dele Alli, but maybe they couldn't get anyone in that they thought, you know, was going to be worthwhile before the end of the transfer window, so they kept him.
Do you think that it was a Daniel Levy? Because, you know, Daniel love him money, you know.
Well, listen.
Daniel Levy is like, how much money?
Listen, yeah, don't knock Daniel Levy. I'll tell you now.
I'm pretty sure he's probably looking at Dele Alli in regardless of where he is right now as in terms of a player right now, the ability and the fact that he's a young English talent.
He wants his money. He wants his money, and he won't take nothing short of what he wants. You know, I tell you what, he's a hard taskmaster, and he drives a bargain, a hard bargain. And you know, many people tell you there's no better at the negotiation table than Daniel Levy. And if he doesn't get what he wants, then you ain't going. Full stop. You ain't going. So you've got to give him credit on that score, in a sense. You know
what Daniel wants, Daniel gets. Yeah, you understand? That's what it sounds
like. Rodney, on the Dele Alli saga down there?
I think Troy's spot on that there's something going on behind the scenes, but clearly Mourinho gets the flack for everything, doesn't he? I just think it's a fall from grace, and we've seen it with a few players, haven't we? Like Sanchez going to Man United and not performing. You could include Mesut Ozil in there, even though there wasn't a move involved. It's just that when Dele Alli was performing at his very best, there was a world-class player there. The relationship between him and Pochettino was obviously clear and underpinned by the fact that Poch, just getting the job at PSG, wanted him back quite quickly. But I remember some of the stuff that Dele Alli was doing. And then again, there's got to be maybe that natural transition from coming from MK Dons. And as soon as he arrived at Tottenham, he was basically performing, 7, 8 out of 10 most weeks. Is it a case that, guess what? There was always going to be a natural dip. Do you know what I mean? And I think sometimes we are a little bit harsh on players when that dip comes. But at his very best, you would see Dele Alli in that team currently as a bit of a no-brainer.
But it's the same thing. It's the same thing as Troy said about Gareth Bale. There's two players where you could close your eyes and think of moments where they've lit up the game on a football pitch. And when you watch them in their current state, where they just look lifeless, like, you know, you're looking at Gareth Bale and thinking, the ball is there, Gareth. Just go for the ball.
You look at Gareth Bale, and before he could give you 5 yards, kick the ball past you and stride past it. I don't think we've seen Gareth Bale take on a player since he's come back to England. I think there's something fundamentally wrong with Gareth, with his time at Real Madrid, the lapse in thinking, you know what, I could come to Spurs and maybe I can be the player that I was before. But absolutely, his talent is still there, but he's not the player that he was. You know, it's obvious, it's blatant to see. And I think there's a confidence thing there. When players lose confidence, when that mindset is, I can't do the things that I used to do, it's so evident, you know, because we're talking about a guy who's won the Champions League. We're talking about the guy who's won the Spanish League. He ripped up Spain. And then for the last 2 years, whatever it's been with Zidane, you know, in the end, he's thinking more of golf than his playing career. You know, it's not about money. It can't be about money. It's about actually, maybe his confidence has been torn apart, that he thought this would be a good move to England, but actually it's turned out to be, well, listen, if you're not starting Gareth Bale, there's something wrong. That's the way I would say it.
I think it's underpinned by the fact that when Tottenham have been struggling, and don't forget, this was a team at the top of the league, maybe once or twice a few months back. When the likes of Eric Lamela are getting on before you, that probably underpins everything that we're saying, that, you know, Gareth Bale isn't the one. But I got to ask Troy this question. Troy, what's the synergy between, say, Tottenham fans or yourself in particular, whereby a lot of Tottenham fans I know were not happy with Mourinho coming in and playing in the style and manner that he does compared to the Tottenham way that we all know about and was even like underpinned by Poch to some degree. Tottenham were a great watch under Pochettino, weren't they?
Yeah, but I see this Tottenham way, Liverpool way, Arsenal way. You
Yeah.
know what? When it doesn't produce trophies, there is no way.
Yeah.
That's simple as that. When it doesn't produce trophies, there is no way. Mourinho thinks
I
that he can come in. He thinks he can come into the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and still play his style.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy. I think he's got away with it a bit because there's no fans in the stadium. Now, I thought bringing Mourinho in was a good move because I thought, you know what, he's going to win them something. And even if it is that little Caro bag cup or whatever they're going to call it, I think he, if it wasn't Man City, we'd say guaranteed. Now it's Man City. We're going to say, well, he's got half a chance or maybe. And now Man City are flying. But Tottenham fans, they're like most fans. When they were beating, let me say this for Daddy Ernie's sake, when they were beating Man United 6-1 at Old Trafford, everyone was on it. Everyone was on it. When they went top of the table in October, they'd already won the league. Then results dipped, and all of a sudden now he's the worst manager in the world. But a week before, they were singing Jose Mourinho. Do you know what I mean? So that fickle nature of fans. Yeah. And if he does win a cup, and if he does scrape into Europe, or maybe the Champions League this time, because he's still in they've got knocked out. They're still in the Europa League, sorry. Then fans will forget this middle period. But he has to do something to ignite the fans because he's got too much talent going forward not to play expansive football. But Mourinho was worried, as we saw the other night in the FA Cup, because Spurs did play expansive football, that if, when he does that, they've got how many mistakes in them at the back, and they conceded 5 goals, and it wasn't pretty on Wednesday night against Everton.
It wasn't pretty either when I saw Tottenham at home against Liverpool and Chelsea. It was
it wasn't pretty, but why do Spurs fans expect to beat Liverpool at home? Why do they expect to beat Chelsea at home? Why do they expect that playing a certain style maybe would win the game? Listen, you'd expect Spurs to be playing better, but ultimately you play better and you lose. It's the same end result, no? But what Spurs fans are saying is, well, at least we could have gone for it a little bit. I think the goal just before half-time against Liverpool killed them. It was such a bad goal; it killed them. But with the Chelsea game, I thought he could have gone out against Chelsea a little bit more. I
didn't think he had the personnel to beat Chelsea.
Well, there you go. I think you're right, Robert. I think you're right. But Jose Mourinho will live and die by the way that he plays. You ain't changing that man for love nor money.
Yeah. So will he be there at the end of the season, in your opinion, Trey? What do you reckon? Because Patrick Captain says he's going to get sacked.
No.
I think he will. I think that'd be crazy to sack it. Remember, this season has been a season like no other, by the way. There's not been a Premier League season like this. And it's only recently that Man City have now gone, do you know what? If you lot are not going to take the opportunity, well, we've been poor. We're just going to crack on and go and win the thing. Liverpool, sorry, Robbo, are they going to make Champions League? Do you know what I mean? Arsenal, are they even going to make the top 10? Spurs are bouncing about. All of a sudden, West Ham are in with a... West Ham, for God's sake, are in the top 5. So it's a season like no other. And I think what you will find is that obviously when European football comes back, and that's not far away, and when those clubs are traveling now to, I don't even know where they're traveling to, Timbuktu to play half those European Cup games, there could be a change in mentality again there as well. So I don't think he'll get sacked by the end of the season. I think they'll give him another transfer window to put it all right, and that predominantly will be about their defence.
Well, listen, just for any West Ham fans, please, you've heard us talk about ways like it's a GPS. There's only one way. It's the West Ham way. all you guys out there talking about the Tottenham way and the Arsenal way. There's only one way. West Ham's the only club that's got a way. So if you're a West Ham fan and you like my friend Curtis, you like making money, I think you should register that West Ham why quids in. Can we quickly talk about the games this weekend before we delve into some more serious matter with Troy, because Troy's giving us a great insight. with his knowledge, background knowledge on football. We've got obviously the early game, 12:30, Liverpool versus Leicester. We won't ask for the predictions, but currently Leicester are slightly on the up, but they play Liverpool, and every time they play Liverpool, they lose. They lose to Liverpool at their ground. But this is a strange old season, and Liverpool are not currently winning games. How do you see the game going, guys? The first game of the weekend, 12:30, Leicester, Liverpool.
Well, when we spoke, Robert, I went for a draw, but I've changed my mind. I think Leicester's going to win 2-1.
Okay, I didn't ask for your predictions. See, that's the easy thing when you wear a Manchester United shirt. You just belt out rubbish.
We do what we want. We do what we want, bro.
I know. That's the
Manchester United. We do what we want.
Let's go to Rodney, because Rodney's not so biased. Rodney, that game, the levels these teams have got to reach.
I think with that one, it's easy to maybe even think about a draw. But I think there'll be a reaction from Liverpool on that one, if I'm honest. I think after what happened at Anfield last week against City, I'd expect a reaction. I think Klopp will demand it. I think Liverpool's problems have been added to. I think Fabinho's out for a little while as well, from what I hear. He won't be back. He won't be back in the central defence. I just think that there'll be a reaction from Liverpool. I expect Liverpool to win. I think Vardy will play tomorrow. I don't know if he's 100% fit. He's just come back from the hernia operation. And I do detect that Leicester at home seem to be an easier proposition to play than Leicester away right now. They do awesome things when they're away from home. And if they are a little bit vulnerable, it would appear to be at King Power. So I think Liverpool will bounce back tomorrow with a win.
How do you see it, Troy?
Spot on with Rodney. I don't think they'll be as remember they were playing an exceptional team last week, by the way, a team that's on fire, and they presented them with the opportunity to go and win the game. So I do think we'll get a reaction. I look at the performance against West Ham when they, that West Ham way team that you're talking about, the way they ripped them apart and scored goals with the way that I expect Liverpool to score goals. I think they're going to bring that into tomorrow. Leicester have lost their fullback, Justin James, who's been doing really, really well with an ACL. So I think absolutely going down the side where Salah will be. I think Liverpool will get some joy tomorrow. So yeah, I'm going for a Liverpool win as well. Justin
is a player. He's quite something. I've watched him a few times. A friend of mine, I've been watching him from his non-league and progressing. This brother, and they're centre half. What's the centre half, Rodney?
Leicester.
Yeah.
Evans is one of them.
Fofana,
Fofana, man. These, I watched these guys and I'm like, where the hell did they find them from?
I mean, Brendan Rodgers has really developed the squad down there. We've got to give him respect for that.
Definitely.
They're wonderful to look at. And don't forget, they were in really good form this time last year as well, if you remember. But they fell away sort of last week. They should have really been playing Champions League football this year. I think there's a little bit more steeliness about them. But as Troy said, I think the boy Justin is a massive loss. Vardy isn't 100% fit. And I know they've won games without Vardy, but I just really worry for them if he's not around, because he's just perfect for their game. They base their game around him. Yeah. The thing about Justin, as Troy said, he's out with an ACL. And this is a guy that came in from Luton and could play right back and happy and confident. Can play left back as well. You know what I mean? So he's a massive miss for them. I think Salah could have a lot of fun tomorrow. And I really hope that Mane wakes up as well, Robbo, because he's been a beast over the years and he hasn't quite looked himself. But you could say that for most of Liverpool over the last weeks.
Mane is definitely, most times commentators say, no disrespect to for Firmino. He's the guy, he's the glue. He's definitely the glue, but you cannot be a glue without this brother's productivity on the left-hand side. It doesn't matter how good you are. And you've seen that without Mane's impetus in the game, Firmino looks like he's a glue, but he's a glue like sticking the wrong things on the wrong area of the pitch.
Well,
when you get productivity of Mane, which Rodney said, with Mane's game, it makes the whole thing tick. And he's been off color for quite some time, and he's kind of been suffering from niggles this season, which would come at some point because the amount of football that Mane does play. But I think when he comes back with a bang, Liverpool comes back with a bang, no doubt.
Robert, do you think there's any traction in this Mane Salah dressing room spat? Do you think there's anything there?
Players, listen, it's just like you go to work, you have colleagues where you work with, you're not overly in with them, and as much as people say they don't get on balls because they have to, you're in a team, and at the end of the day, it may not be an eye to eye, and personally, he's my brethren, but bro, you're here to work, man, and if one person ain't pulling, you'd have a problem. But I can't currently see that's the way with Mane and Salah. They both.
Ernie, though, you remember United partnership, Sheringham, Cole, York.
Yeah.
They didn't like each other. They never liked each other. It didn't stop them performing on the pitch, though. It didn't stop them putting the ball in the back of the net. And I think ultimately that changing room environment is one thing, but when you're going out to business, to work. And I think that's the difference.
I mean, since we've heard this story, Mane seems to be the one who is suffering. Klopp might take him out of the team now and again.
I don't think so. I think Robbo's right. He's had a couple of niggly injuries. He's not been 100%. He's trying to protect him. They can't afford any more injuries, by the way. I think the massive miss has been, and take this as you will, Jordan Henderson not playing in midfield. I think that contributed to those front three not probably getting the kind of support that they normally get. And I think with Liverpool, the knock-on effect of losing Van Dijk and losing Gomez has been, everyone thinks, oh no, they've overcome it, they're still up there, but they're actually not. That because losing two great centre backs has also meant that they've had to shuffle so much. I'm actually surprised they're still in with a shout. But these last couple of weeks, obviously, a couple of defeats has sent them back again. But the thing with Liverpool, they could turn up one day, like I think they will tomorrow, and go bam, 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 and everyone will go, boy, what was the problem there?
I've been saying,
and the point that Troy makes about Henderson is true, because the front three, they are only as good as the service that they're getting. I mean, I know they're all capable of creating a little bit of magic, and it's interesting, Robbo, because I've read in the media a lot of people now saying, Thiago guaranteed to get a booking early, which he got last week against City, and almost slowing the game down. I think I've heard that. What's your view on that? Because that front three, Salah, Mane especially, were reliant on that ball coming through and doing what they do best.
But what a lot of people do see with Liverpool, and these are the quick transitions. Sometimes those quick transitions are started by Virgil van Dijk. It's one ball over the top, bang, right hand side, Salah's off. Those goals are created, and if you check Salah's stats, he creates he's the most creative player in Liverpool's team. Those balls come straight over. A lot of those goals are just are made by those players. Equally with Jordan Henderson and with
coming from deep, Alexander and Robinson,
and they go over to Mane. If you watch Mane in recent games, this guy is fighting. He's fighting for everything, and he's definitely under pressure, and that all comes from the team behind, because the players behind make a big difference to what those front three do. And as you said, Rodney, it's a knock-on effect, though. It's definitely a knock-on effect from the back. We've had key injuries.
Predictions for the Leicester Liverpool.
I know you want to gloss over it, Ernie, but
time's running. I want to talk to Troy about
when Laporte was injured for 5 months. It was Manchester City mash up because Laporte. Me know you nobody said Van Dijk, Gomez.
Hold the 4-1. I'm just trying to. And you're top from this week, and tell us the score tomorrow. Who is this Guess Who character? I want to know who this Guess Who character is. Maybe we get
Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool. That's what we call them, Liverpool. So, Robbo, score prediction.
Score prediction, very simple. Barnes scores 1 for Leicester, but Mane, Salah, 2-1.
You're going 2-1 Liverpool. All right, I've gone 2-1. All right. What say you, Rodney?
I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool tomorrow.
3-1 Liverpool.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a
And
reaction.
Yeah,
Same
Troy
score.
says
Same score.
3-1.
Yeah, 3-1 Liverpool. Same score. Counter attack.
Can we cut? Time is running. Can we cut to 3 important games? All right. Yeah, 3 important games. I was going to talk about Man United, but 3 important games because Troy's in. Crystal Palace versus Burnley. It's only 3 o'clock kickoff tomorrow, so everybody
really
sitting at home, cozy up beside the fireplace on this very cold day, looking out at Crystal Palace and Burnley.
Don't get your popcorn out. I tell you that. Yeah.
Have a word with Andros and make sure he don't miss a sitter this week.
Oh, wow. I didn't know he was going to come with flames like that. Scored at Old Trafford, though, this season. One up within 7 minutes. Scored at Old Trafford.
I'm talking about the sitter.
Hey, this ain't Super Jam, Ernie. This is no chilling. No, not chilling, not Troy. So Crystal Palace play Burnley. Your son plays for Crystal Palace. I've always been impressed with Crystal Palace. They are my second favorite team because of
I like that.
The
He's only saying that because you're here, Troy. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about Robert.
Rodney, I've been saying that, and I love this new character on the block. Easy.
Eze. Yeah.
No, not Eze. Easy. Easy. Yeah. Wait, you gotta get in the It's easy. It's easy.
The Crystal Palace way.
The Crystal Palace way. Crystal Palace way.
It's just easy. Easy. Easy.
What do you think about? Give us just a little briefing of what you think about Palace with under the guidance of what the manager used.
Roy.
See,
some people say that Roy is very much like Mourinho. He's cautious first. He's got a lot of talent within that team, and obviously when Zaha plays, everything revolves around him. He picks up results in the most unlikeliest of places, Roy. We'd gone to Manchester for 2 years without defeat until we'd lost to Man City recently. We'd gone to the Emirates. We'd gone to Liverpool and gave them an unbelievable game, a 4-3 game not too long ago. But he struggles to adapt when Wilf Zaha is not playing, and he struggles to get a formation going and the side pumped up without Zaha, and Zaha's missing again tomorrow. So listen, Burnley are a very tough team. I'm going to nick a result tomorrow because I can't come on here for the first time and go for the opposition. So I'm going to nick a 1-0 result tomorrow for Crystal Palace, and I don't care who scores it. I don't care where it comes from. I don't care what time.
It's easy.
They ain't going to be able to keep him. He's going, mate. I'm telling you. That boy is
he'll be there. He'll be there. He'll be there. You know what? It's a very good place for his development, to be honest. It's a very good place. He's got a lot to learn. He is easy on the eye. Easy on the eye. The way that he drifts past players, like they're not there. I tell you, it's something else. But listen, he's got a lot to learn about the Premier League. I don't think they're playing him in his best position.
Where do you think he should be played?
I think he could play them behind a forward. And
number 10.
Yeah, with two players supporting,
but he's so
players so that he can do his stuff.
He's quick. Well.
He's quick. He's deceptively quick. He's not pacey quick, but when he's got the ball at his feet, he's deceptively quick. Yeah. Listen, he'll play for England one day, no doubt. He'll play for England one day.
I think
who else can he play for? Who else can he play for apart from England?
No, I'm not saying. For England, apart from England. Is it? I don't know if it's. I don't know. You caught me on the hop there. I don't know. He's played for the under-21s, but he could still play for some. I don't know if it's Nigeria.
Okay.
I think it might be Nigeria.
Well, I do. I am impressed. I'm impressed with him. And another player I'm impressed with is Neto and Barnes at Leicester. I think those are like 3 players that's really impressed me. And it's funny when you watch the development of these young talents. The more their confidence grows. I mean, we've watched it over the years many times before. We've watched it like with so many Premier League stars. Is when the confidence grows and they realize that they are. I've reached a level and I'm comfortable here in the league. And whatever happens at the end of the day, I will give you a 7, 8, or a 9 today. And I love that about it. And I'm watching that happen so naturally now without the fans, without the whole of the noise from the terrace. Easy is just easy. Neto is ghetto, and Barnes is, come on, Ernie. Barnes is
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. All right, so Burnley and the other game, we've talked about the Tottenham Man City. We just have to talk about just 2 more games. I'll leave the Man United to Sunday.
Why are you leaving the Man United?
No, we are gonna do it. We're gonna do that after. Ease, like ease.
Okay. Well, Man City, Tottenham.
No, we've done that. We've done it.
Prediction.
Oh, do you want a prediction on that game?
Well, they're the 2 big games. City.
All right. Well, let's have a quick prediction. We've talked enough about Manchester City.
We don't have to go into it. Yeah. Right. Go on.
I reckon that game, as I said to you, Ernie, I think there's possible upsets. I don't think Tottenham will get that upset, but I think maybe Mourinho is. I don't know. I'm just hoping that he just pulls one out the hat and it's a 1-1 City. Man City Tottenham. I'm hoping, so I'm predicting 1-1.
Okay, I'm going 2-1 City. Ernie 2-1 City. Yep, I'm going 2-1 City. What you got, Rodgers?
I'm going to go 3-1 City. I don't know what Tottenham's confidence levels will be after the midweek, and defensively at the moment, they like candy cross at the moment. And City are confident, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? So I expect 3-1 City.
Come on, Jose, upset the apple cart.
I'm going to go like a copycat. I don't think Jose is going to upset the apple cart, and I think it will be I was going to go 3-0, but I somehow think Spurs are going to sneak one in somehow and give everyone false hope that's a Tottenham supporter. But yeah, I'm give City a 3-1 to City as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Tottenham's problem is scoring goals. I just think defensively, they're all over the place at the moment.
Sugar strain, come in. Bye. Sugar strain. Yeah. So, all right. So there's other games, obviously, but we're going to focus on the last 2 games. Last 2 games of our show we're going to focus on. No disrespect for Southampton and all that. Let's just talk about the game where it's a tactical masterclass from Leeds United coming down to the Emirates and just blowing Arsenal away. Rodney.
You're never quite sure what you're going to get with Arsenal, so this is what makes it so fascinating. But you do know what you're going to get from Leeds, which is lots of hard running. They'll man-to-man mark players. I could see that being a 2-2 draw, or Arsenal just sneaking it.
That's a good prediction.
Rodgers goes 2-2. You know something? I was going to say 2-2 as well. I'm going for a 2-2 because I think that Leeds, they're scoring freely. They might be letting goals in, but they are scoring pretty freely. And I think they're worth it.
What I love about Leeds is that throughout the season, and don't forget this is a promoted team, I know they're a big football club, but they're never ever discouraged. They will play the same way. No. Some people say they've been a little bit naive in terms of some of their tactics, but I remember them getting a walloping at Old Trafford. Do you remember? And we discussed it.
Yep.
They might have been 3-4-1 down, and they were still pushing and still pushing. To some degree, that's a pro and that's a con at the same time. So I think it's going to be pretty entertaining at Emirates on Sunday.
I think Leeds go in that game, no fear. If Arsenal score, Leeds are going to say, we'll have some too. Bielsa's going to say, we'll have some too. I'm giving you a 3-2 scoreline to Leeds United. There's going to be goals, 3-2.
Agree.
Troy.
Yeah.
Apprehensive?
No, I'm not apprehensive. I'm actually, it's going to be a ding dong game. So it could be anything, You know what? I think I was nearly going there, to be fair. It's one of them where Leeds could quite conceivably lose 4-1, but also could go and smash them 4-1 as well, and it's, I'm going to go, hear me out here. I'm going 4-2 Leeds away win.
It's got to be one of those games. Can I ask you?
I think all four of us come 6:15 on Sunday won't be surprised by anything that happens at Emirates.
Just to make the game a little bit more tasty, can I just ask you, who do you expect to play in Arsenal's back line? That's it.
I can tell you who that'll be. That'll be Bellerin, Gabriel, Holding, and your mate Cedric.
Dead food. Cedric from the White House on the corner.
See, that's what I'm saying for too. That's what because the movement of Leeds' front line, and not just their front line, but the movement of players coming from supposed to be left back, supposed to be right back. So I just think it's too. To be fair, Calvin Phillips had an injury, come off against Palace the other night.
That could be a big miss.
If he's not playing, can I ring in and change my result, please?
Yeah, maybe.
If
Remind me of what Sheffield United did last season. Do you remember? They were very brave, they were very structured, and they'd take teams on home and away. And obviously, we know how that's gone for United at the moment. But Leeds, win, lose, or draw this season, and they are a promoted club and a little big side, they're just playing ball and they're having fun. And sometimes they get smashed, and sometimes they'll do the smashing.
Yeah, Phillips is a talent, but I believe with Bielsa, one thing that is for certain, all the players are multi-changeable in Leeds, and I think he would just put somebody in that place and just say, do the role. As Phillips he is the talent in that team.
They haven't done it without Phillips. They haven't done it in the same way. So whilst I agree with you in a sense, is that do the role that Phillips. No one can do it in the way that he does, and I think they are susceptible when Phillips is not there to even more exposure than what they have been.
When Phillips isn't there, I think Dallas steps in there sometimes, as does Click, and it's not quite the same.
Yeah. Phillips is a big player. Can I ask you, do you know the background of Phillips? Somebody told me that he could qualify to play for Jamaica. Is that true?
That's right.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. Right. Yeah. But again, when you're a young talent like that, I think Jamaica is the furthest thing on your mind.
Oh, obviously. I keep telling you. No one knows we never play football down there.
Troy, I have a problem. Rodney will tell you this. I have a problem with them players there, right? Choosing to play for England. Because England's very good at I'll tell you what, we'll give them a cap and that'll stop them from going anywhere else.
I agree with you. I agree with that.
They don't. I think that, even what's his name at Man City, Raheem, who comes from our ends. I think by him or players like that, gonna play for their parents' country like Jamaica and Nigeria, the Nigerian boys, will give inspiration to young players here to play for their country.
Come on.
No doubt. But I'll throw something back at you, Ernie. When they take their football seriously, when they take their football seriously, when they do all the get the coaching staff in, when they really believe that they can go on a platform, then you might entice more of those players. We've got to stop this Mickey Mouse attitude in the Caribbean that we believe that we're good without actually putting all the resources and everything into being good. And if you can't put the resources into it, why do you think you're going to attract the players that are playing in England to go and play for the national team? I agree with you in a sense that you're right. The English do it to stop them from going there, but there's the onus on the Caribbean sides and their boards, etc., to do things properly, treat the game properly. And then you may find that you may entice a couple of those players who are like, listen, Zaha did it, didn't he? Zaha goes now and plays for Ivory Coast because he felt
Ivory Coast.
Iwobi's done it, yeah. So there is players there, but I remember watching Zaha in the African nations, and I've got to be honest, I thought wasted talent.
Well, yeah, but they do their things at their clubs, right? They do their things at their club. That is their main bread and butter, right? And the only way that the likes of in the Caribbean, whether it's Jamaica, Trinidad, or whatever, or Nigeria or the Ivory Coast,
Trinidad play football.
Is by these players playing for those countries.
Yeah, but what I said, that the whole thing has to be right. The whole thing. I'm not being funny. I ain't even going to talk about mistreatment of finances. So don't let me go into that. Do you know what I mean? And you can't, if you're going to do this thing seriously and proper so that Jamaica do qualify for a World Cup, which, to be fair, they've had some decent players to have been able to do it, apart from the 98 that they've done it. Then you'll find that people might take it, or players might take it more seriously. There has to be a whole thing behind it to do it properly. And listen, I'm saying that I actually, you are right, but ultimately there's things going on behind the scenes, and I'm privy to them that shouldn't be happening.
Listen, when Sterling was addressed to have a look at the Jamaica thing, they were like, "Go on, buy your ticket." Pardon? Buy your ticket.
Yeah, but Robbo.
Listen, I know he can afford it, but it starts with those conversations. I'd be absolutely shocked if you said you want me to come and play for my birthplace, and they're saying, there's a flight that leaves that, and you're buying your own ticket. That just sends the wrong signal. So if that happens in the onset, what happens when you're talking about training, or if I get injured for my my country, what happens then? I would love, just like all of us here would love to play for their own countries. But like what Troy says, I'm pretty sure there's things in the background that would just put a young footballer off playing for his home country. And listen, at the end of the day, we're not privy to everything, but conversations I've heard, I'm like, that doesn't even sound right. It don't sound right. I mean, you put on your country jersey with pride, and it starts with that. So everybody's got to be on that same everybody's got to be on the same level. But when you're seeing things on, other players are getting driven, other players are like buying their own tickets, that just it's not right. It ain't right. But I don't think that's the only case. But hey, that's just my 2 cents.
But the guys that are commenting are absolutely right as well, by the way. Everyone knows the story and the background story. Until they can make it a professional environment for those players to go over and to excel, then the players are not going to do it.
Nigeria it's been well documented. Nigeria, they've had major problems, but players still play for Nigeria, bro. You know what I mean?
Let's be serious. Nigeria had a good period, but it's not consistent that all the players go over there and play. They've had a good period where they had good players going to play for them, and made it to World Cups and to the Olympics and showed their quality and talent. But it's not always consistent. And again, it's because so I hate to say this, but sometimes greed overcomes the bigger picture. And this is what I'm saying about we don't always know the underlying kind of issues why players go, do you know what? I ain't coming back here again. And I hate to say it because I think it's wrong about our people, but the examples are there and the examples are plain to see. If we were to do things professionally, particularly with our Caribbean, listen, I ran a non-league side, and the Antiguan Association were coming over, and my business partner, he's Antiguan, so they got in touch and they said, "Come on, look, can you play them? We want to source some good players from England, non-league players, etc." They come over there, and I'm expecting this professional setup. They had Willie Donachie, the former Manchester City fullback, who's their coach, by the way, a Scottish man who probably hadn't coached for about 30 years. And he's come over. But he's come over and he's coaching these men. And I'm looking at them thinking, you want us to give you players for that? Now, they said when the game was finished and we thumped them up all over the place that, we're going to get in touch because we wanted it. They took 2 players over there, and the players were nearly abandoned in Antigua with no way to get home. Crazy. And if there's 1 or 2 stories like that, believe you me, there's other stories.
That's what I'm saying. I've heard about the stories where players have gone and like the game's done, and man standing in the rain, bro. And this is Jamaica. But resources, professionalism, all that.
All of that
needs to be looked at. So
and then for me, then we start make noise. And all that is in place, then we start make noise.
The thing is, I'm of the opinion, and Ernie, you know me, I'm of the opinion, if we're gonna have the conversation, let's be open and honest about our room before we talk about anybody else's room. Is this room a mess? Yes, it is. Let's clean up the room. So clean the room first, and then we talk about let's address the house of football. But if the Caribbean football nations rooms are not too tidy to be in the house, I can't see any other reason why a player would.
They need some help. They need some help.
Listen,
yeah, but they've also got to accept the help. They also got to accept the help. But they're very wary of the people from over here as well. We don't really want them over here.
And what are the stories that we normally get coming out of the press when a African or Caribbean team take place in, say, a global competition? It's about players' contracts not being right and the money not being paid and the resources and the setup. And you think, wow, you know, and I think a point to note as well, some of the players that we're talking about here are so used to being cosseted and well looked after in the Premier League, aren't they?
And that's what I said. These guys are young players. You can't expect them to be up and down, chauffeur driven.
You know what? The Jamaican women's team made the World Cup, and I cannot tell you how some of that was a little bit of a shambles behind the scenes for those. Some of the players weren't even going to go to the World Cup.
If you think about,
they were not going to go.
There's so much Jamaican football talent as there is Nigerian, etc., etc. Since Jamaica won the World Cup, where have they progressed as a football nation? When all of this talent is coming through, you know, the boy D. Cordova Reed at Fulham, you know, you had Wes Morgan lift the Premier League title not too long ago. You know, everywhere you look, there's good Jamaican players. Now, if all of that could be brought together, wow.
Yes.
But since
they be willing to go and add their expertise to the cause.
The room needs cleaning. Clean the room. My daddy's clean your room.
He's not having it.
No.
It's true. It's true. You know, it needs cleaning up, and when it needs cleaning up, you can't leave. If you want to be recognised in international football, you can't carry on all dibby. You can't carry on like your non-league setup, and you want to go and play against Argentina, because them they will thump you up, and then when they embarrass you, no one's going to come and play for you.
Exactly, and that's what's happening.
We played them teams in well, not Argentina,
1998. Come on, man.
And all these people.
Jamaica's getting slapped up by Australia. In what world? Why? Look at the talent.
Friendlies, and not in a game that matters.
It doesn't matter.
Every game should matter. Every game should matter. Friendly or no friendly.
My opinion is
that talent that's in Jamaican football talent. No chance.
Robbo, we have to make a stand and get some of them players and get some of the ex-pros to say, right, John Barnes was there. He lasted 2 minutes. Sure what happened there. But get some of them players and say to them, right, we're going to give you X amount of years or a couple of years, and we're going to give you the resources and get these
players. Let's see it happen, Ernie. Let's see it happen.
Well, I would like to. I've been saying it for years.
There was a job going in the Jamaican setup to run their youth academy. I think it was last season. They overlook all the black man, you know. They overlooked all the black man with experience.
Clean the room.
Right. I'm just going to leave it there. They overlooked all the black man with experience.
Clean the room. Too much man hanging around in the room like it's special. Clean that room.
Robbo seems to know a lot about cleaning.
Yeah, right. I see a lot of people who may be just in those positions because because we're in that position. And they don't know about cleaning the room. They want somebody else to come and clean the room. Oh, put these people, they can clean it. They can make people look attractive. Let's get Willie Donaghy. Clean your room. Anyway, sorry.
All right, talking about cleaning the room, we got some cleaning to do over here right now because there's some pressing things going on, Troy, that we would like you to enlighten us. And of course, it's this whole racism thing that it's been going on for ages, but it just reared its head in another level right now, man. What's going on?
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, yeah, but I'm going to say that it's not reared its head at another level. It's always been there. This social media racism has always been there. But you know what? Half of the people that ain't been interested because they could go and watch the product on the pitch. So they ignore the fact that, players have been victimized on our platforms, black players for being deemed to make a mistake for far too long. But because the government get involved and because the Duke of Cambridge get involved and because, the Premier League and all them make up a statement, everyone's now like, oh, this is like, no, the players have been going through this for so long now. And those social media companies are complicit to the racism that is being received because they won't I'm going to use Robbo's term here, clean their room. They're not interested. That footballers coming off the platform or not using it for however long doesn't hurt Twitter, doesn't hurt Facebook. We're a minuscule part of the community that serves that platform. So actually, if footballers did come off, no one cares. It don't hurt Facebook. It's when the likes of when they pull Trump off for what he's done or what he was doing and the rubbish that he was spouting. That's how quick they work. And no disrespect here. So Tom, you know, died last week, you know, humble man, got so much prominence in the last year. Someone sent him some negativity. Man was arrested within 2 days, I think. Arrested within 2 days.
Yes.
2 days.
I was going to ask you.
We're still searching for man for like 6 months. The police contacted Twitter for an incident last year. 6 months. They're pestering Twitter. Like, we're trying to do this case. Twitter said, we ain't got the information now, and the account's been removed. You think they would have done that if that was Sir Tom? You know, and I don't want to disrespect those that have passed, but you know, if we're going to have rules, let's play by the same rules. And at the moment, the rules do not apply to black people. Let me just say that first. Black people first. You know, we can all count on our hands how many of those players. You know what happened Sunday? I said this to Rodney. Sunday, when Rudiger and Mendy, they had a little mix up, bam, goal. You know, the first thing I did was go straight to Instagram. Do you know what? Because I know what's coming. So I went to Instagram. As I'm scrolling, bam, there it is. Monkey emojis, gorilla emojis, bananas, N-word, bummer. The situation had happened just 2 minutes ago. Now, for Instagram, they don't see a problem with a gorilla emoji being aimed at a black man. They don't see a problem with a monkey being aimed at a black man or an ape or a orangutan or the banana. They don't see the problem. Why? Because there's no black people in their environment. They don't know how it hurts. They can't appreciate what we go through. In a matter of fact, they don't care what we go through.
That's
but
the
yet,
word.
the other day,
the
other day, they put out a little statement about some little changes they're going to make. And who do they put up? A black woman, because they think it will appease us. We're done with all that crap. Listen, if I could provide the solutions, I would. But why should I have to provide solutions for them big tech companies that earn them money? When they provide solutions, they get £1 million in their back pocket. Why should I provide solutions? That's their business. That's what they work on. And we work with a tech company who actually tells us, Troy, it's easy enough. This ain't rocket science to track someone's account. Let's think about this. Every time you click on an advert, okay, might be YouTube. All of a sudden, that product pops up on your Instagram, your Facebook, your Twitter multiple times, but you didn't click on them. You clicked on your YouTube. But that's how we are linked. If everyone thinks that, our identity is not available to those social media platforms, think again. They know everything about us. Every time we click our phone, they know everything about us. Can I say bullshit? I've just said it. I just said it. All right, I just said it. So the bullshit that they present to us, I'm telling you now, no one take that as anything, because it's just the lip service that we have has constantly been paid to us. But the thing that's happening at the moment is football, your governance of the game, Premier League, FA, PFA, whoever you want to call them, EFL, they can hide behind the fact now that they're not under pressure because it's the social media platforms that are under pressure. So actually now they can hide, this is not about us today. Do you know what I mean? When they, again, have never dealt effectively with the issue of racism, whether those players are playing in their England shirt or whether fans are doing whatever they do, you know, on the pitch. 2 and a bit years ago, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, you know, popped 2 in against Spurs, turns round as a banana on a football pitch. The media are told you can't call it racism. What do you mean you can't call it? No, you can't call that racism. We don't know if he had racist intentions in throwing that banana on the pitch. So you have to call it a missile. What, like when the fella threw the coin and when they throw the bottles? Yeah, like that. So listen, we have to fix up the game and fix up the game properly. But until there's better representation and better understanding about the impact of these incidents, then I'm sorry, I just think we're going to be continuing going around this revolving circle for forever and a day.
Troy, can I use the word bullshit?
Yeah, go on. I'll even spell it for you if you want.
MANU. Anyway, can I use the word bullshit for a moment? I'm relaying it's a thought from myself, and it's a thought from people that I talk to. I was speaking to my friend Mr. Lynch earlier on, and I mentioned that Kick It Out, a member from Kick It Out is going to be on the show, and he said, they're full of bullshit. Now, okay. I'm not disrespecting you as a person or you know what you're trying to do, but we've seen over the year. I mean, you've been around for what, 25 years, and
28 years this year.
28 years. Okay, so around that time, there's a lot of people look at the campaigns, the campaigns against racism in football, and there many names pop up. We've heard Kick It Out over the years and a few others. When we sit and we see the abuse that happens online, and we look at the way you would go to register your complaint, you going to Kick It Out, and it's 5 steps, and you get to steps, and if you're not happy, it goes to some ombudsman and what have you. We then would say it's bullshit because nothing ever happens. How do you counter that?
Let me counter that by saying, whoever your friend, Mr. Lynch, or some, yeah. It's quite very easy to say bullshit about the campaign that you know nothing about. It's very easy to say bullshit when actually we're a small charity that is punching above our weight in this space, that challenges the football injury, the people with the money, the people with the power, the people who have all the ownership of the game, the Premier League, the FA, like I said to you before, the PFA, those with millions and millions in the bank that have never truly addressed this issue. So who's the easy target? The little organization, Kick It Out. You know, for me, unless you understand the internal politics within the game, we are always going to be that easy target. And you know what? I don't mind. I'll take it on my shoulders. If we're not serving one member of the public correct, then they have the right to say the term bullshit about us. But I say to anybody, you know, come and work with me. Come and work with me. You know, if we were in different times, come and work with me for a day. Come and see the bullshit that we have to put up with on a consistent basis as we continue to knock on the boardroom doors of those people who actually close a door and say, do you know what, we don't want to let them in here. Come and work with me at the time when Greg Clark, the chair of the FA, the former chair, of the FA.
What a nice man. Look at
calls our people coloured in a big live meeting with the DCMS. Okay. Which then says to me, boy, how do they talk about us behind closed doors? And the only people that challenge, and I say that one of the only people that challenges that, and I'm going to say this, and Rodney will back me up here, is me. So if I have to carry the weight of a lot of people who maybe I've never met before on my shoulders, because I still feel that in this day and age, black people get no respect in football, then I will. And if that leads me then for a link, you know, your friend to say, they're bullshit. Well, I'm sorry, I'll face that. And anyone that says it's bullshit, I'll always front them up as well and tell them the real story. I'll do it in a respectful way. Me and Daddy Ernie had a little piece a couple of months ago, yeah? By the time I got a word in, I had to tell him, you know, it's not as easy as what it seems. And do I get frustrated? I get frustrated on a regular basis because it's not rocket science. You know, if you want to eliminate racism, don't tell me that you're going to start a campaign that says no room for racism, when actually that campaign should be, there's loads of room for racism and we're not dealing with it. So, you know, there's so much I can say on this topic. There's so much. And listen, I feel people's frustration, because ultimately, if our players in this day and age are experiencing the same thing that Cyril Regis did, that Laurie Cunningham did, that John Barnes did, Brendan Batson, and all our great heroes, then there's something fundamentally wrong. And if people see us as part of that problem, I apologize, but I tell you what, I work day and night to change the status quo. And you may see some lines on my forehead. That's the lines where I have to challenge football all the time. The white man who's in those boardrooms, who doesn't like a Troy Townsend. Here he goes again. He's speaking up about racism again, you know, playing that imaginary race card. And all the people that are there on social media that want to victimize me because of the job I'm doing. So I've got no problem with anybody saying bullshit, but come and test that out. Come with me. Come and walk the journey, and then say, hold on a minute, Troy, you got a point there. I didn't know it was that tough to try and break down those ceilings, those walls, those glass houses. And those glass houses don't only exist in football, they exist in our business environment. where we don't have enough black people in leadership roles. Anyone that's listening, if you want to go and look at a website called the Power of Color, go on the website, the Power of Color, scroll down, right? It's got boardroom roles from the government to the banks to the FTSE 100 to sport, and you add up how many black people are in there. Add up how many black people are in leadership roles where we can influence, and any one black person that is in those roles, their names are right down the bottom. Their names are right down the bottom. So do you know what? I'll accept the criticism, as I always do, as I've always done, but it won't stop me from trying to get where I need to get to so that this place does get cleaned up.
Well, listen, Troy, I appreciate your honesty, and I'm glad the bullshit brought out a little bit of that spite, because I myself, I watch you on Sky, the platform sometimes, and they wheel you out. Here comes Troy, and they wheel out Troy, and they say, Troy, bit of racism today. And what I've heard you just say, you're speaking with a passion that you're not. I'm wondering. Let me ask you: do they allow you to stretch your point in the way you elaborated your point today? Because I mean, if you were speaking like that on those platforms more, I would probably
lock him up.
No, I don't. But I'm sure. Obviously,
we've run out of time, Troy. We got to go now, but we'll see you in 3 months' time.
Is that what they say? No.
They literally. Let me tell you something now. Someone just put it in there. I was on the Anton Ferdinand documentary, okay, and I said my piece. Anton was let down by football. He had a problem with us, but I said that the football plays lip service to racism. Okay, I was on the documentary for 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Anton spoke about his experience and how he felt alone because of the racism that he received from John Terry and then online. So let's take 2 minutes and 50 seconds out of that. That's still good 54 minutes. The FA, the governing body, who got called out left, right, and centre, by the way, by that documentary, chose my 2 minutes and 50 seconds to put a statement out about me, to say basically what they said was Troy's a liar. Okay, I said that I'm not allowed to contact players whilst there's an investigation going on. They basically said Troy's a liar. I said that every time I speak out, I feel that I'm putting my job at risk. They said Troy's a liar. So 15 minutes later, they put the FA don't work at 10:15 at night, by the way. Let me tell you that. But this night they worked at 10:15. Okay, they prepared their statement. They put it out. Right, they put it out. 2 days later, behind closed doors, not in the public. Oh, we think we might have got it wrong. We think we might have got our tone wrong. I said, tone wrong? I said, you attacked me for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That's what's wrong with our game. That's the issue, that they'd rather attack me because they feel we can walk all over Troy than actually say, you know what, we failed to support Anton. We take ownership of that. From now on, we'll pledge to do better. So I do talk like that sometimes on those platforms, Robbie, but you're also right that actually I do need to tone it a little bit, because if I while out, like you said, I ain't going back in the door again. But I also feel that it's not a time to go quiet.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't feel it's a time to go quiet.
Troy, do you think that it's coming to a stage now where some of our high-profile players must start thinking then maybe we've got to walk off the pitch?
Do you know, I felt if fans were still in the stadium, so if we had fans in from March last year and Black Lives Matter happened and there were fans in there, I think we would have seen players have gone already.
Well, it happened at PSG, right? The PSG.
Yeah, but that was a totally different situation, wasn't it? But actually, it proved the power of the players, because the fourth official called Pierre Webo the black man. Now, I don't know in what circumstance you have to describe him by the color of his skin when you should know all the representatives, because he's wearing one of those badges as well. You know, the official badge. You should know. So they're saying, translation, Romanian. Rubbish. He called him a black man because that's how he wanted to call him. And for once, two sets of teams decided that, we're not doing this no more, man.
They were in solidarity. And I've always said, listen, you know, we keep talking about big games of football, But if you had a Super Sunday game, a Man United, Arsenal, a Chelsea, Tottenham, or whatever you want to call it, and those players, as a group, decided to walk off the field of play, which would then affect TV rights, money, etc., etc., trust me, things will start be getting done. If that happened every Sunday, or the authorities didn't know when it was quite going to happen, trust me, things will get. As soon as anything affects finance, yeah, you see people acting quickly.
It's the same with the social media platforms. Rodney's right. If it affected their financial income, and there was a penalization for every time one of those monkey emojis, whatever, was sent to a black player, let's just say randomly, $1 million, all of a sudden, as you count up those emojis, they can see their profits going down. And then they'll say, do you know what? We need to do something.
Troy, when you post up, like when Mane bust the net and I post up, you see that? My players tore your net apart. And then within...
Video goes down.
And all it is the black nightmare, Mane, terrorizing. And I just want to post it up for my love for Sadio Mane. And that gets taken down within seconds.
It just goes to show you how easy it is to eliminate something that is posted on your platform. The Premier League do not want their highlights served by anybody unless it has an income stream to them. So you're not allowed to post Mane scoring because the Premier League want that as their income.
Money.
Money.
You post it, and you can post it on WhatsApp, by the way, and I think it still comes down. No matter what you post it on, it comes down.
But if I'm an opposition fan and I said, that black monkey just messed up my...
Stay up for days. And also, there's no way that you'll be able to track that person down.
Yeah,
because they don't want to.
If there's a will by the authorities to actually change things, they get changed. We've seen it. We've got goal line technology now. Referees have got fancy watches to tell us what happens. Yeah, we've got VAR, whether we like it or not. They've introduced things. Okay, when the authorities want to introduce something that suits them, it's in. When we have, as Troy said, and we all on this call are aware, this is not a new problem. It's just that we've now got no fans in the stadium, so a man can, or a woman, or a child in Ian Wright's case, sit at home and abuse. And as Troy said, when Rudiger scored that own goal last week, I was on a WhatsApp to a mate of mine. I said, "Boy, he's gonna be the next target." And guess what? It's gonna be exactly the same starting from tomorrow.
Well, guys, I tell you what we can do. Like we've made the point today, and Troy's really brought light to a lot of things that we don't see or hear about in the background. We'll watch the games and we'll have a look, and we'll look at it again, Ernie, next week, and let's see and count up how much of their boost goes out. And I'm pretty sure some of you guys watching the show will be able to help us. So if you do see anything, flag it up, screenshot it, and we'll bring it into the show. We've only got about 3 more minutes left. I want to say thank you to Troy.
Just before Troy goes, Troy, I want to ask you, are you surprised at the way Ian reacted last week to that verdict? Because I'm amazed.
Why? What do you mean you're amazed? Why are you amazed?
I'm amazed because he sounded like, well, I'm Ian Wright, and really and truly we should have got something from the judge.
Yeah, he should have got something from the judge.
So,
but the problem was that the judge took Ian as a nice guy. So Ian kind of said at the start, I almost feel pity for the people that do it and blah, blah, blah. And, I don't want too much to be this guy to be beholden too much. And I just think the judges are weak. The guy's young. He comes from Ireland. His parents put in a little bit of, this is our statement about our son. He feels he's already, suffered it. What suffering did he have? He feels he's suffered enough. This man not only threatened Wrighty, threatened his family and his children.
Yeah.
If you do that on the street, listen, you do that on the street, you would hope that somewhere along the line, man is being chased. George Floyd lost his life for a $20 bill, a fake $20 bill. But hold on, you can come around and threaten man's children and family and walk free. That shows you it's not just football, it's the judicial system, it's everything around the place. Yeah. Don't let me mention Priti Patel, it's the politics, it's everything. They believe they own us. They believe they own us.
Language they are allowed to use all the time. And that's what I was saying earlier on, Troy. It's like I'm not saying for 1 minute that you should go on there and torch them like Caperton
and fling chair and everything.
Yeah,
No,
I
but
just
you should get us up there with you, Troy. We come back here now.
listen, Ernie, we did say that we wanna do a very insightful show, which is going to be, I can tell you from now, it's going to be hosted by Rodney Hines.
Hey.
About the problems in the game. No, come on, no, Rodney. If it will go all sizzler in here. So I don't want to go all sizzler. So we're looking to do that in a few weeks' time. So we'd love you to come back on the show, Troy. It's been very insightful, and don't disregard what Curtis had to say. You're doing a great job, bro. You're doing a great job. How can they find you on Kick It Out if people want to reach you to highlight some concerns?
Best place is my social media accounts, which are literally just at Towno10. So at Towno10 on Twitter and on Instagram. I mean, I could give you an email, but hey, I'll probably get so much abuse that I'm not sure people use emails anymore, do they? So my socials are, there you go. That's my social, at Towno10.
Please get out if you have any concerns. And he did say, come and work with me. So there's an invitation. I know enough on our job.
Well, after me and Troy's little conversation a little while ago, I was supposed to come back. Tay-tarte.
Ernie just bludgeon people. It's the only way.
Listen, our office has not been open since last March. So actually, there's nowhere to go at the moment. But listen, the minute we're out of this, I'll take people around. I'll show people what we have to deal with. There's evidence there. You know, this is probably one of the most difficult jobs in the industry because actually no one really likes us because we're applying pressure back in, and they don't want a pressure to be applied back in. So at any time, guys, anytime. All
right, you heard the man. Just this weekend, are you going to the match, Crystal Palace?
Not allowed. Can't. Got to watch it on the box. Yeah.
You're
no, I can't even pull no. This COVID thing ain't easy, you know. So do you know what? Nah, let me stay where I am. Yeah.
Is only Rodney have stripes around here?
Only, yeah, exactly.
Rodney, what are you doing this weekend?
I will be at the game we talked about. Arsenal Leeds for me this weekend.
See the man have stripes. Ernie, what are you doing this weekend?
I'm chilling, man. I just bought a bottle of red wine and I got some J Red. So me, I'm gonna mix up that for the weekend.
Ernie.
I'll bring some. You're not too far from me, Rob. I'll bring some.
I'm going to be on the not on the cruise, but we're doing a Welcome to Jamrock radio. You catch me on Damian Marley's YouTube. Sunday at 8, I'll be live streaming. And I know you guys want me to go all saucy Valentine's, but I might mix it up and dash to Sizzler. I try in the building. Mike, some fire to try. So listen, guys. Ernie. I suppose we're out right now, innit? We're out of time.
Yeah, we're out of time. We will out of time. So I might have somebody very special next week, as special as Troy as well. I'm working on a nice one for next week. So we got to keep this thing firing on all cylinders in us. We have to bring in people who can deliver what people want to hear. You know what I mean? In and amongst me calling you a liver fool and Harsky Nail.
Listen, we're biased like that. People, thank you, Rodney, Troy, Daddy Ernie, being the fixture list. We'll be back next week, Friday. Peace, people. We out.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Take care.
Bum.